Hey everyone, this is Jamie from Rochester, New York again, and today I wanted to show you the beginnings and overview of a project I'm starting. If you read any of my comments on my channel page, you'll see that I'm starting to look into making these passenger cars pretty close to accurate and identical on the inside to what they would be out on the road if you were to see them back in their heyday. And this morning I decided to make a little seat. You can see that right there on the car itself, and I just wanted to show you guys that before I get started into anything here. What this is cardboard, and it's bent, let's see, three times over, and it's kind of glued down on this side and on the bottom, and it's folded over and it's glued about right there. And there's some techniques to making sure that up on this ridge and on this ridge here that you're going to be able to get the right curvature so it looks like a seat and it's not flat, and that's by using the scissors and everything. I'm going to make hopefully one long video this time of the phone camera doesn't time out on me. But anyway, this is a seat that I made. If you look, I don't know, let me see if I can adjust the light a little bit better here. That's just regular masking tape I put over it and painted, and if you really take a good look at it, I don't know if the camera's going to show it, but there's a lot of little veins in it, and it kind of looks like actual leather, which is really neat, because what I'm going after is, of course, always a detail. And what I did underneath was I took some other little cardboard pieces and I raised it up, so that way if you look at it when it's inside, the seat is seated properly, lack of a better term. And one other thing I wanted to show you is scaling. That's really important with this, and there's a lot of little techniques on the ruler and everything, and with these videos I'm going to name them specific to what you're actually doing. I saw on the channel that a lot of people are kind of jumping around looking at that, and I can tell by the counters, so I'm actually going to title these specifically on which one is which, and this is obviously the overview. So let me switch directions here with the tripod and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay guys, other direction on the computer here that I'm always using is kind of like a work table to show you, and it's because of this little light here. What you're looking at is the floor plan of one of the passenger cars. This isn't an IHC exact passenger car. This is just kind of a basic passenger car layout, and all I'm really using this for is some ideas and to get the scaling right. And I found this on Google just from googling passenger cars. First off, I just wanted to show you this is exact to the IHC long passenger car kind of scale there, and I just wanted to prove that to you by holding this exact up onto the screen here. As you can see, that's pretty accurate there. So that gave me a good baseline to work off of when making my seats here, and I made the measurements, of course, on the ruler. I just wanted to show you, I don't know if you can see on the top middle, actually we'll go with the middle, 10, 12, 11, 9, they're all right around in this area. That's a scale that I designed this seat off of, and I'll show you that because I can fit that right into the 10 seats position right. I don't know if you can see that right there, and that's pretty much exact. The only thing is I need to make sure that these little corners are rounded out a little bit for that to fit, because these are straight corners at the moment. At this moment, I'm pretty sure, you're probably thinking, oh, well, that's really neat, but how is this actually going to work? How is this actually going to help me once I make one little seat? Does that mean that I have to make hundreds of little seats? Because that's going to be ridiculous. And the truth of that is that's very true. If you wanted to, you could. And the first videos I'm going to start making is how to make that seat. But the next section is going to be about how to replicate that seat. And when I talk about replicating, I'm talking about pouring plastic into molds and actually making exact copies of that seat. So that way it saves you the time and the hassle, and I'll show you how to make an actual parts tree and everything, just like you would as if you bought the seats off a kit off of eBay or in the stores. and that'll save you a lot of time, and it'll give you a lot more control over the detail in your passenger car. Basically, what's going to happen is that when completed, so there's a couple other things I want to do that first, is that's actually just a demo that I made just for now to prove to myself I could do it before I came on the camera. It's like, oh, look what I can do, and then screw up in front of everybody, because of course I don't want to do that. But what I'm going to do is essentially, once this part is done, is put it into plasticine upside down. Just kind of set it in the plasticine, plop, and pour rubber over the top. And then what I'm going to do is when that sets is flip the mold over, get rid of the plasticine, and that'll be sitting down in the plastic or in the rubber like that. Pour some like a parting chemical in between, and then pour it on top, and then just like a little hole going up, little tiny mold, and that means I can reproduce that in plastic. And then once I've got that reproduced in plastic, it means I can keep making bigger and bigger and bigger molds and have up to 20 or 30 of these guys on one tree. It takes a while and it's monotonous, but it's what you got to do to get the right number. I'd rather have one tree and one mold that I can always come back to and have for life, that I can always make copies out of. And when you have the plastic, you can change these seats around. That's a very basic looking one. I made it basic for the reason that when I have the plastic, it'll be easier for me to work with, and I can take the X-Acto knife in and make all sorts of different changes, and then I can make all sorts of different molds. And then, for you know what, even if I wanted to just start producing my own parts and selling them, I could do that. But for my purposes, I'm just doing it for my own stuff, of course. But that's basically how this all starts. To understand how far you can go with your model train set is to first understand how they got there first. And if you can understand how they got there first, then the sky's the limit, because you can do this all right in your own home. You can do this right in your own bedroom, even if you wanted to, kind of like how I am, because living rooms, yeah, the little ones are running around here, so you know, what are you gonna do? Anyway, that's kind of where we're going, and I hope this grabs your attention and seems like something really cool. There's gonna be some skilled trades stuff we're gonna be learning here, so sky is literally going to be becoming the limit. And before I let you go, I just want to show you one other thing. This is actually a auction that I just won on eBay the other night. And the reason being for it is because I could not buy my brother out of these guys, the IHCs. But, you know, that's okay. That gives me a very unique situation and a lot more other stuff I can post and show. Because those seats, like I just said, here's kind of the point of doing it in plastic. They're not going to look, they may look something close to this in an IHC, but they're going to look nothing close to something as old and different as that. And this is the observation car that I just got, so that's going to need its own variation of seats and equipment inside, seating areas, tables, ashtrays, of course, for that era, a lounge kind of area, bar, all that kind of good stuff's going to have to be fabricated to go into there. These are the two passenger cars here, which are pretty neat. Really excited to get into those guys, because I can start making the interior pieces myself. That's like the luggage car. Some people think that's a mail car or a livestock car, but the whole thing is there's no windows, so there's no one in there working or doing anything. So there you go. The lady in the auction thought this was a cattle car or something, and it's also packing it in popcorn because she doesn't like styrofoam. But okay, so we're gonna have to decrease that guy. And then there's kind of an overview of the whole thing. See, the whole thing is, once you learn how to do this on your own and you can start diversifying, you don't have to spend so much money going and buying all this stuff if you can just make it in-house at home. And the big, huge, important thing is even when you're doing your set and your layout together, if you're going to have such high quality detailed trains going around, you better have good high quality everything else going around too. So even when it goes to making things in nature, with the skills that I'm going to show in this next little mini series here, is that you can go out into the field and start making your own trees any way that you want and make as many copies of them as you want. And just it's going to be a huge kind of, like the last one, it's going to be a lot of information. So there you go. This is the overview video. If you are excited by this or want to learn it, definitely go to part 2 and start getting involved. Thanks for watching, and this is Jamie in New York saying see you later.